Okay, this is this Charles Williams guy, okay, that, you know, was the dearest friend of C.S. Lewis. Rosicrucianism is an occult system using a blend of Egyptian and Christian symbology. It's essentially the occult. Okay, just a different flavor. During this period, Williams read books by the Rosicrucian writer A.E. White. And then he entered into correspondence with A.E. Waite. And at Waite's invitation was initiated in 1917 into an organization called the Order of the Golden Dawn, or the Thelmic Order of the Golden Dawn, or the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, whatever you want to call it. Among its first initiates was a coroner who allegedly performed necromantic rites. Necromantic means communication with the dead. Okay, this was a coroner that was one of the first members of this member of the Golden Dawn. While another member another early member was the black magician Aleister Crowley. Okay, now, do you understand what type of evil people we're dealing with here? And this is what Charles Williams was initiated into. This is who David Meyer and many other people say that both Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were closet members of the Order of the Golden Dawn. Now, I can't prove that unequivocally with this particular teaching, but there's many that say that they were closet members. Okay? Now, if they weren't closet members, let's give them that. Okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Look at the people who they hung out with in the Inklings. Two of the Inklings that they hung out with were absolute, total, avowed members of the Order of the Golden Dawn. Who else was a member of the Golden Dawn? Well, this Waite guy, who was about as big of a devil as you could be. We had a coroner who performed necromantic rites, which is where we communicate with the dead. We have Aleister Crowley, who is reputed to be the most evil man of the last 100 years. He called himself the Great Beast. He bragged about how he would sexually molest little boys and then kill them. He performed witchcraft at the absolute highest level that had ever been known up to that time, publicly. This man was absolutely, totally evil to the core. And he was one of the first members, Aleister Crowley. He was the self-styled Great Beast. I've talked a lot about him in other lectures. But the Order of the Golden Dawn also included persons of less outlandish ways, such as W.B. Yeats, who was another Inkling. Well, these guys all got together, didn't they? All the Inklings got together. Yeats, Charles Williams, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and they got together, and they got drunk, and they compared notes. Charles Williams was one of them, and that was C.S. Lewis's best friend, his dearest friend. And it said that he influenced his writings more than, we'll ever know. So did Tolkien. I mean, are you able to do the math here on this? I think that everybody is. This is pretty obvious what's going on here. There was also other people, one or two other clergy with a taste for the mystical, and A.E. Waite himself. Now, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The influences of the Golden Dawn concepts and work include Freemasonry. So this is some of the things that have influenced this Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The Freemasons, Theosophy, which is the belief of mystical insight into the nature and of the God and the soul. This is what Madame H.P. Blavatsky started, the Theosophy, which is essentially like Luciferianism. Okay? That heavily influenced the Golden Dawn. Enochian magic also influenced it, which is an elaborate system of ceremonial magic. Very, very, very powerful stuff. Enochian magic. Okay, this is another major tenet of the Golden Dawn. And medieval grimoires, which is a manual of black magic for invoking spirits and demons. Hey, sounds like a great, Christian organization to me. Where do I sign up? And then it says, while it existed, this member of the Golden Dawn, this Order of the Golden Dawn, while it existed, it was the focal point of the development and redevelopment of the magical thinking in Europe. Here's another thing. This is from the Hermetic Imagination, the Effect of the Golden Dawn on Fantasy Literature. Because isn't that what we're talking about today here? Isn't that what C.S. Lewis and Tolkien wrote? And all these other good buddies they had, they all wrote fantasy literature. Well, that was the particular genre that Satan so chose to use in order to indoctrinate millions and millions and millions, and the count keeps growing every day, into the occult, the fantasy world. Who influenced that fantasy world genre more than anybody? Who influenced it more than C.S. Lewis and Tolkien in the last 100 years? Is there any two bigger names? I don't think so. C.S. Lewis and Tolkien are going to be responsible for the blood of untold millions of people on their hands, most likely. As far as sending people into the occult and getting them hooked into that system so ultimately they go to hell. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I sure wouldn't want to be in their shoes. And they weren't saved, obviously. The Hermetic imagination, the effects of the Golden Dawn of fantasy literature. At a Tolkien Centennial Conference in 1992, Charles Williams stands out because of both of his overtly theological oeuvre and because of his close connection with C.S. Lewis and J.R. Tolkien. It said it right there. This was at a Tolkien a Tolkien Centennial Conference in 1992. There's no mystery about any of this. Now, this is a quote from one of these guys, as a neophyte aspiring to be initiated into the Golden Dawn, he would apparently have to declare, quote, my soul seeking for the light of occult knowledge. This is what they do, similar to what they do in the Freemasons. He would also take an oath to keep the right secret, and on penalty of a hostile current which would be set against him if he broke the faith. Again, this is very much indicative of what the oaths that bind you in the Freemasons. You take these blood oaths in the Freemasons, which are forbidden by God in the Bible. Remember, above all, swear not, these types of things. They take these blood oaths to uphold the secrets of their given occult order or secret societies, typically upon penalty of death. These oaths they have to have been on Waite's enthusiasm for the Freemasonry, and also vaguely Christian mysticism and Rosicrucianism, which is a system of occult beliefs which combines the symbolism of Christianity and the terminology of what they call alchemy, which is a demonic counterfeit of Christianity, yet it seems to be influencing the church through the popularity of mysticism, spiritual experience, and the postmodern disinterest in God's unchanging Word. I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and we'll go to part 2 next.